is ending. Again. And again. And again.
Cyborg is the cyberpunk sequel to the statement-making Morkborg by the Stockholm Cartel. And while your phone in the real world is flooded with ads and the news is just another day of something awful, we can all find peace in games that bring us familiarity. And if that's the case, well, you're gonna love this game. Also, before I get ahead of myself, the glasses look super cool, but I can't see. Well, that's better, old chum.
Don't worry.
I'm not a corpo spy. While everyone on the internet is screaming for you to play games other than X, Y, or Chromosome, I want to lay down exactly why you will love this game. So, first up, the setting and feel of Cyberpunk. Armed with a setting that I like to call death, drugs, and rock and roll, Cyborg takes the cyberpunk genre to a death metal extreme. And if you're having a hard time imagining what that's like, imagine cruising down the streets of Night City in Cyberpunk. You turn on the radio to your cruiser and you hear, "The only thing they fear is you from Doom," then you run off the road and crash your car into the nearest sewer, and then you notice that a mechanized mutant crocodile is coming to loot your flesh from your still living and still screaming body. Also, I bring up Cyberpunk because there's another Cyberpunk TTRPG called, well, Cyberpunk, or Cyberpunk Red, and people playing that game felt that it lacked a certain high-octane feel that is present in the games and trailers. And if you are one of the folks that played the game and also felt that way about it, well, Cyborg is your knight in stained armor because its fast-paced, Rules Lite, and horrifically deadly vibe perfectly matches the chaotic feel and unforgiving themes of Cyberpunk. If you're looking for a setting, then the Borg games give you some inspiration with the different regions that you can play in, but never give you enough to bog you down with all the endless lore. It's just not that kind of game. You can play in highly diverse regions, such as the Central Enterprise region, the ports, the industries, the in-betweens, and other delightfully grim alternatives. The industries are a particular favourite of mine because they mention how it's a region that is melted into a toxic wasteland of chemicals and machines where people are worked to death to feed eternal capitalistic consumption. The book itself constantly wows you with brilliant art on every single page to really nail the feel. I mean, look at the front cover, it looks fantastic, and everyone that you see on the interior of these pages are a mess of wires, jagged metal, and bright colours. Instead of general fantasies the focus, like in Morkborg, which of course is the only state of mind that people in the TTRPG community can manage, Cyborg's world is much like our very own. Hauntingly so whenever you turn on the news these days, except turned up to 11.69. Technology and hacking is your font and flavour of the world, and rebellion is the flavour of the people. People flavour, but you'll also notice that something is wrong. The setting isn't just capitalistic corruption and the transhumanist ideas of jamming metal into your body the moment you realise the weakness of your flesh. There's also mutations, nature turning vile and strange, nanobots and nanobacteria, and AI slowly threatening to take over everything, and of course, aliens. Basically being a Morkborg game with a very different style, the sounds that talk about the end of the world have been replaced with miserable headlines, which are news stories that you roll for, which include things like an anti-human bioterror attack and an alien plant messing up the region. Then, after you roll 6 times, the 7th time will be the realization that we're all living in a simulation and it's resetting in 12 hours. Cyborg is the cyberpunk. But now let's take a look at the lovely people that you'll be playing as and the mechanics that you'll be using to drive them closer and closer to their demise.
You can and should break every rule in this book, except this one. Rule 0. The player characters cannot be loyal or have sympathy for the corpse. They are the enemy.
Kill them all.
The mechanics of Cyborg, much like Morkborg, are very simple. Roll a d20 for nearly everything, add your modifier, and you're usually trying to get 12 or higher to succeed. Instead of having omens, you have glitches that can help you re-roll or do more damage, and crits are of course super fun and super deadly when you crit fail. When it's time to fight, the enemies and the players are split into 2 sides. You'll have one action to do an abstracted theatre of the mind-like thing. You'll be firing a gun, throwing a knife, or doing anything else that fits the narrative of the scene. And the enemies are super simple to run for the GM and super fun to play against. There are no rolls to hit from the enemies, just you dodging or, you know, reducing damage with your armor if you're just some kind of pansy that can't dodge bullets. And speaking of which, weapons and anything damaging will do anything from a D3 to anything and everything more dangerous. Meanwhile, your HP will be shockingly low. Life is cheap in this world, but don't worry, character creation is super simple and super fun. So fun that you'll want to die. Wait, what? Making your character is very similar to Morkborg. You'll be rolling to determine nearly everything from your gear, your traits, your quirks, whether or not you have games on your phone, and of course, your debt. Yes, there is a specific roll that you must make to determine your debt. You roll to see how much you have and who you owe it to. Like, I just rolled and I owe 9,000 creds to a gang run by my childhood bully. Still taking my lunch money, Gavin! Also, you get to choose. Do you want to be a random guy fighting to survive in the big city, or do you want to have a character class? But don't worry, the classes don't define you or pigeonhole you into a particular archetype. There are 6 classes, 3 random gear tables, and one thing that you will love about this game is just how many tables there are. Everything from your loot, what style your character has, and what flavour of drugs they find the most moorish can all be rolled for. As a fun example, I just rolled on the tables and here's what I got. Who? Me? I'm a new flesh-style punk with glitter skin who is super into model mech kits at the moment. I got 40 creds, a super cool mono sword, and I'm rocking my Style Guard armor. It almost looks like clothes. It's not though, I'm naked. In my pockets I got myself a first aid kit with 3 uses, a fake ID because I'm a cheeky little guy like that, and a pack of real tobacco smokes. That authentic TB taste. I loudly chew gum to ward away that smoky smell, and what I want more than anything else in the world is to burn it all down.
We should have burned this city centuries ago.
Being the GM in Cyborg is a blast. It's a Rules Lite system, so you and the players are invited to make your own story and wild session of your own, and since there isn't a lot of rules overhead to keep track of, you could just make up a lot of what happens and how to resolve things. I'm a big believer in that the most useful thing that you can give to a GM is just stuff to use, and there is plenty of stuff to use in this book. There is a ton of setting-rich random tables of loot, crazy enemies, and random events to happen, and a super simple job or quest creation system. It basically lets you create an entire quest or job for an entire session, detailing where it takes place, what you need to do, what complications arise. There aren't pages and pages telling you how to run a dungeon or the most scholarly approach, discussing on how to best build a whole world for your fantasy game, otherwise you're a bad DM. No, instead you'll find funny, interesting, creative, and exciting stuff to use. Stuff that you'll want to actually run a session of to see it being tested out and played out in the game. Also, you can use the page that gives you more crunchy options for combat, and you can take this super crazy aesthetic seriously, or you can just rely on the exciting tables and run whatever vibe you want to go with. For example, the first session of this that I ever ran involved 3 player characters who were really cool actually, who managed to pull off their own heist like badasses without dying at all, and my next group ended the session with one of their characters being a figurehead for a wave of rebellion against the mentally oppressive city and its mistreatment of sentient toasters. The crazy stuff that you'll find in this book lays out the cyberpunk genre at its highest and most intense, but you and your friends can pick up this book and immediately start having a blast with these simple to run and understand rules and tables that have your back for when you want to inject something crazy into a scene. And I'm not going to sit here and detail literally everything about the book, like the free adventure at the back of the book, the tables of all the different drugs, the classes that you can play as, apps which are basically like hacking powers, nano powers which are basically alien powers, and all the different tables that add depth and flavour to even the simplest of occurrences, because I want you to get this book, read it, and discover what fun you can introduce your game night. Will I enjoy this, and why should I pick up this book? Well, if you love Rules Lite games, a product packed with passion and flavour, great art, and a platform to enjoy the cyberpunk genre at its best, you love Cyborg. But if you prefer games that are rules heavy with crunch and have safe themes like fantasy, then you probably won't like this game. The other stuff to mention, like the license being super open for third-party creators, there being a free browser app that you can make your own random character with just a click of a button, and how there are free versions of these games, both Morkborg and Cyborg, that are easier to read online, I'm not going to repeat because it's all stuff that I said in this video about Morkborg. And if you haven't watched that video already, then click the video on screen. I love the Borg games, and I think I know which one I want to talk about next, but for now, let me know what you think of them, or if this is the first time you've ever heard of them, or this game, Cyborg, specifically. Go get yourself a copy of the game, and I love you all, and I'll see you next time.